All right, here we go. Who dey?
Do that.
That didn't sound very enthusiastic.
Yeah, because there's nothing to be enthusiastic about.
That's fair enough. I also don't particularly feel super thrilled with my team's draft either. So, but obviously we're going to talk about that. So we're gonna we're grading, but we're doing it with the rankings. So basically, like whoever had the worst draft is going to be down here at number 32. Whoever had the best, obviously, at number one. And you can consider that like F and A plus and whatever. So like one thing I noticed that kind of gets on my nerves is people seem to be kind of scared. Like when I'm reading like these draft grades articles, people seem to be kind of scared to give out like anything lower than like a D, or like a D plus. Like most people will be scared to give anything lower than like a C. Really brave people will give like a D plus, but nobody really wants to be like, oh, this team had a shit draft. Like so but you can basically consider it like this. Like if we put you at number 32, you got an F.
Yeah.
That's basically the way I see it. Maybe 31 and 30 as well. I don't know. But that's going to be the way we're going to do it. Hey, King Bozo. Your team did better than my team in the draft. So congratulations.
And my team.
Do it.
And my team too.
Yeah. I think my team did better than your team. Not by much, but...
Bro, I'm not going to lie. I think we might have had the worst draft in the entire NFL.
I don't think that's accurate.
I mean, it's through every team right now.
Well, we are about to go through every team. So I guess you're saying the Saints had the number 32 draft. I think the 49ers had a worse draft personally.
What do the 49ers do?
Well, why don't you tell me why you think the Saints had the worst draft?
Where do I begin? A, the Saints had a chance to get Shedeur Sanders 6 different times. B, they refused to draft a single wide receiver. C, the Saints didn't draft a corner till the 4th or 5th round when Will Johnson was on the board in the 2nd round, but you took a quarterback that's about to be 30 in half a decade. I mean, okay, if you want a D, we didn't get a pass rusher till like the last pick. And then the one pass rusher we did get in the 3rd round is a run stuffer, which is something that we got Devon Godchild for. Yeah, so that's my reasons.
Okay, that's fair enough. I feel like the 49ers like just went hard on trying to get defensive line, and their defensive lines, like, I don't think it's that bad. I mean, like they got Nick Bosa. I know they've had a bit of attrition there, but like I think considering who was available on the board when the 49ers were picking, I think they really did not like address a lot of the real big needs they have, and I don't see them as any better coming out of this draft. I don't think they're worse by any means, but I don't think you can really get worse in the draft. I think, you can only basically stay the same that you already are.
Yeah. You can either stay the same or get better. It's one or the other.
King Bozo hates how we got a defensive tackle in the draft. Well, like first?
Which one? Didn't y'all draft like 2 or 3?
Well, yeah. They did draft Derek Harmon. In the 1st round, but like Derek Harmon's good. Like, I like Derek Harmon. Now, I mean, like Caleb Johnson, the running back, but I don't know. For Caleb Johnson might have been a bit of a reach in the 3rd round, to be fair for the Steelers, but they didn't have a 2nd round pick, so like you go get your guy. And then they did double down on defensive tackle, but part of the reason is because like T.J. Watt is like your whole defensive line right now, so I think it's not a terrible idea.
Yeah, that's if y'all don't trade him.
Price is Right says, been a follower since you showed the Jets with Mike White destroy the Bengals. I wouldn't say destroy. Price is Right, and yes, I remember you. But I wouldn't say destroyed, but definitely embarrassed us
I remember that
horrendously.
game.
Like no, they didn't destroy us. But the fact that Mike White was their quarterback certainly make it feels like they destroy us. that was
Yeah, I remember that.
that was a painful game.
Wasn't there like a controversial penalty at the end of the game too that definitely didn't help?
I don't think so. I don't remember. That was a while ago. Wasn't
Wasn't there
that
like
was
a
that my
legal
first
hit? Yeah,
stream?
definitely. Yeah, it was. I remember.
Yeah, because I do remember like like the Jets game in 21 was my first stream, and that might have been the Mike White game, which kind of pissed me
Yeah.
off.
If it makes you feel better, the Saints got obliterated by Aiden O'Connell last year.
That they did. So who we putting at number 32?
Either the Saints or the 49ers.
Well, yeah, obviously.
I would.
So like your whole argument is that they didn't get Shadur Sanders, which appears to like
That's not.
most people seem to like think that that's a good thing.
That's not my whole argument. I gave you 4 reasons, right? Shador, not
Yeah, but
getting
your
Shador-
main no, I'm sorry, your main argument. The first thing you keep coming back to.
I understand, and that's because in my eyes, Shador is the next level to be a generational prospect. Now, I don't think he's a generational prospect, but I think he is a top tier QB, and I think the only reason he didn't get drafted was because of his attitude, which I love, but teams don't like cockiness, I guess. But that's not my whole reason. Like, the Saints refused to address any of our needs. We only drafted for depth at positions that we were fine with. Like linebackers, we got good linebackers. Running backs, we got good running backs. But then you got guys like, Will Johnson on the board, and you settle for a quarterback that you could have probably got in the 3rd round, 4th round even.
Yeah, no, I do agree with that. The Saints had a rough draft. The one thing I will say though, and this is a really a pittance of a of like compensation for you, I suppose. But like, I really do like the running back y'all got in the 6th round. I think he could be like one of the big steals of the draft. Now, is that worth the rest of the draft you have? I don't know, but I do think that running back could be really good for you. Like him and Alvin Kamara could end up being like a really good tandem.
I wasn't mad at the pick, but I was like, man, like, look, like the only reason I had a problem with the pick is that we needed so much other stuff. Like, we should have got receiver. Like, there's some good receivers. Like, we had a chance to get Jalen Royals, who I was high on, and we chose I think it was Danny Stutzman that we chose. Like, he's a solid linebacker. He can bat down passes and stuff. But we don't, like, I understand you can't always draft for need. But at a point, like, if you're at the position where the Saints are at, you got to take like the best player available almost every time at the position that the Saints are at.
Yeah.
And like Shador Sanders was the best quarterback available. And I would have understand if you didn't want to take Shador. Okay, I'm fine with that. But you took a quarterback that you could have got later, but we could have got Will Johnson to help the cornerback issue. Because in my opinion, our biggest need was corner. We traded away Lattimore last season.
Yeah.
We lost Poston to Debo. Will Harris, who's technically a safety, but Will Harris played some corner. He went to Washington. We needed corner. We only had Alontae Taylor and Kool-Aid McKinstry. Now, I do like the Quincy Riley pick, but Quincy Riley is not Will Johnson.
All right. Well, since it's your team, we can put him at 32 if you want.
I don't want that, but I'm real with my team. So.
Well, I know you don't want it, but it's already happened. So now it's like, do you want us to acknowledge it?
Yeah.
Okay. Then I'm gonna say we put the 49ers at 31 because I don't really get what the 49ers were doing. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense.
Yeah, I feel like they went hard defense, and I understand you lost a lot of defensive free agency, but like y'all need receivers badly. Did y'all even take a receiver? Yeah, y'all took one in the 4th round, but
yeah.
So like losing Debo, I thought they would try to trade up and get like Ted McMillan and try to trade up for him, but no. Like even if they did trade, like there were some good receivers in the draft, but they just settled with. However, I already know my 30 team, my number 30 team.
Who's that?
Texans.
Why the Texans?
Mostly because they hold on. Let me find them real quick. Where are y'all, Houston? Because I remember this like the back of my hand. First of all, y'all traded out the first round, and then y'all traded back just to get Jaden Higgins, who he's a good receiver, but you need offensive line. Okay, so I didn't really understand that. Then yes, you do take a tackle, but you go ahead and take another receiver when you could have got another DB to pair alongside Derek Stanley. Like I just didn't understand
Well, okay, but they did get a DB in the they had 2 third-round picks and they got a corner in the third round. And they got a offensive lineman in the second round. Like I mean, when they took when they took Jaden Higgins, you know, like the board didn't really fall super well for them at that point. And I think the decision to trade down and get more picks was a good one. And then yeah, maybe an offensive lineman, but I really do like. You said a few minutes ago, you were like, I know you can't always draft for needs, but like, you really shouldn't draft for needs. Period. Like you should be drafting the best player available. Like just period.
Yeah, but at the same time, Jalen Smith, I don't think is that good to be honest with you. So I feel like they could have got like a better DB. That was, you know.
Well, okay, I'm not. I'm talking about Jaden Higgins in the second round.
Oh, well, still, like you know, receive. Like I just don't really know what the Texans are trying to do there because just like how we said, the Browns got too much quarterbacks. Well, the Texans have like way too many receivers at that point.
Dude, holy shit! The Texans with the number 34 pick took Jaden Higgins, and then with the no, with the 79th pick they took Jalen Noel, and then with the number 9 with the 97th pick they took Jalen Smith, and then later in the 6th round they took Jalen Reed. Like I think they were just picking based off of first name.
Yeah. Well for number 30, I was either going to say the Texans or maybe Dallas, maybe.
Okay, I was thinking the Vikings had a pretty poor draft.
I mean,
But
does Sam Howell count as their draft?
I thought the Texans did okay. So, I mean, I'm not saying we have to put them very high. It has to be a consensus, but like I don't want to put them at 30.
I have a question. Does Sam Howell count as part of the Vikings draft?
No.
No, okay, because that would probably change some things. I mean, I like the Gavin pick that they got in the 6th round. And I like Donovan Jackson, but honestly, I thought Minnesota should have took Flower and Shedeur Sanders in like the 3rd round since he was still available somehow.
Yeah, I just.
Looking at quarterback. Because, like, I don't think they're getting Aaron Rodgers, so I would have at least drafted a quarterback, you know, because you don't know how J.J. McCarthy's going to do.
I just.
Will Howard or Quinn Ewers.
That's fair.
Yeah.
All right. So you said the Cowboys.
Yeah, I mean, bro, that I don't know what they were doing. Like they took Tyler, but I like the Donovan Ezerike pick. But other than that, like Siobhan Revel, I mean, is he really that? I mean,
Listen. I like Siobhan. I like most of the Cowboys draft. Right. I like Siobhan Revel. I like Ezeraku in the 2nd round. That's actually great value in the 2nd round. I like. I mean, yeah, and once you get into the later rounds, it's like, what are you really gonna say about most of these guys anyway? But I will give you though, Tyler Booker at number 12 overall was kind of like insane. Like what? Like a guy who like I was like fantasizing about the Bengals getting in the 3rd round. You took number 12 overall. Like, what?
Yeah. Yeah, I don't get
so that's crazy to me. The rest of their draft I thought was fine though. In fact, in a lot of cases I thought it was really good. Like particularly Ezeraku at 44 overall was a home run, I think.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, yeah, I don't think anybody's really had a bad draft, but like a lot of teams, like for example, like the Bills, they went hardcore defense, which you know,
I thought the
It was
Bills
drafted
had
a
a
receiver.
phenomenal draft.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But I thought, if they would have added a receiver, bro, they might have had the best draft of in the NFL. But yeah,
Right.
like Atlanta, as much as I hate to say it, I literally love almost every single pick that they made.
Well, that's good.
Unfortunately.
Okay. Let's
Chicago though.
let's go ahead and put the
Chicago, why you
Cowboys
taking
at 30.
Loveland? Okay. But why the Bears took Loveland over Tyler Warren though? That confused me.
Yeah, sometimes these NFL teams, I think, have no idea, or not have no idea. I think they have a completely different idea than what a lot of us looking at it from a different perspective. I do really like getting Luther Burden at 39 though.
I do. Like, I'm not saying that the draft was bad, but like that decision was.
That was weird to take Loveland that high. That was strange.
Yeah.
So
you could probably trade it down and still get Loveland.
Yeah. I'd give the Bears probably like a C or a C minus. So I mean, like somewhere around here, like 21 or something like that.
Yeah, a draft that I didn't really understand too well was the Broncos draft, sort of.
I thought the Broncos had a good draft. I mean, like strategically, it's interesting. But I mean, they got good players. Which when it comes to the draft, the reason that I say going for the best player available, regardless of what your immediate needs are, is important, is because a lot of these guys aren't necessarily going to play in year one. Some of them will, some of them won't, but a lot of them need to develop, and like very few guys come out the gates just being amazing right away. A lot of these guys are going to have to develop in a year or two, and so you're not just drafting for when you're in free agency, you're going and getting guys who are going to contribute now. When you're in the draft, you're generally looking for guys who are going to answer problems that you have in like 2 to 3 years.
Yeah, I mean that's why teams draft backup quarterbacks all the time. Like you saw the Eagles even draft a quarterback. So
why did the Browns get Dylan Gabriel and Shadir Sanders? Well, why they got Dylan Gabriel, I don't know, because like Dylan Gabriel, I think is terrible.
I don't.
I think that was a horrible pick by the Browns, getting Dylan Gabriel, especially that high. However, the reason they got him and Shadir Sanders is because I think they were intrigued by Shadir Sanders, but they were really turned off by a lot of things about him. And then he was available in the 5th round, so at that point, why the fuck not? You know.
I mean, but the thing is, like, look at that quarterback room: Sean Watson, Kenny Pickett, Joe Flacco, Shadir Sanders, Dylan Gabriel. That is the Hall of Mid.
That's the Hall of shit, honestly. Like, we're not talking about we're talking about 2025 Joe Flacco. We're not talking about Joe Flacco with really any gas left in the tank.
Yeah, I mean, hey, you never know.
Well, yeah, you never know. He did lead them to the playoffs.
Yeah.
All right.
But
Yeah. So I put the Vikings at 29. Who are you putting at 28?
28. Let me see. The Colts had a good draft. What about? Well, I'm trying to look. Let me see. Chargers. What did you? Oh, the Chargers.
Okay. Hey, I got an idea. Instead of us trying to come up with a consensus for each pick, how about we trade off? Like you come up with, like you came up with the Chargers here. I'll pick 27. You pick 26, and we'll go like that. Instead of having to agree.
I got Chargers. Cause
okay,
bro, Marion Hampton, you could have gotten in the 3rd round.
That's probably
you picked
true.
him in the 1st. And you got him in the 1st round. Like Trey Harris, I like the Trey Harris pick, but it's like, dog, you could have had Matthew Golden, you could have had Luther Burden, like in the 1st round, but you chose a running back that, like Najee Harris, is already on your team. Like, but yeah, the Chargers, they didn't really draft any playmakers other than they got the guy from Auburn and Trey Harris. But they drafted a tight end that they're probably not going to use.
Mm-hmm.
But you never know. So yeah, I think the Chargers. I don't like their draft.
All right. I'm gonna put the Browns at 27.
Right, they were going to be my next team.
It makes like they made no sense. I did like the Mason Graham. Unfortunately, like you saw my reaction to it at number 5. I did like Mason Graham.
Yeah, I was with you.
That's a good pick. But I don't like Carson Schweisinger, I think is his name.
Yeah, that confused me. What's the deal with him?
I don't know. That was a huge fucking reach. I mean, he's known as a good blitzer, but like I feel like they need somebody who's a little bit more like polished than that to kind of fill in a very weak position for it, like a very weak linebacker position. I mean, I know they got JOK at linebacker, but like I mean, he's had a lot of injury problems, and I don't know. I don't know. Like Schweisinger, just it feels like you're taking a big swing on somebody who can theoretically rush well, but he rushed at UCLA. I mean, like, come on, let's not like act like he was like rushing against like Jalen Milroe.
What?
Just playing in the SEC is what I meant.
Oh, I mean, you could have said like maybe even Carson Beck would have been a better response, but
they got the other Ohio State running back in the second round. Like, what the fuck? The other, I mean, not Travion Henderson, the other guy.
Oh yeah, Trevor. Yeah.
They took. We're going to just. I do like Harold Fannin. That was an okay pick for them. In the third round, but Dylan Gabriel, in my opinion, was possibly the worst quarterback in the draft. I don't like him. I don't like him at all.
I think Will Howard is worse than him.
Well, okay. Obviously, there are going to be some people who are like at the clear bottom. But as far as like guys who are considered like within the like top 100 picks, I thought Dylan Gabriel is probably the worst. Now, granted, you know, he got picked at 94, so that's pretty far down when it comes to the top 100 picks. But as far as guys who were considered to be potentially taken, and I'm including Shedeur Sanders in that, even though he didn't go in the first 100 picks. But then there's the other one, Shedeur Sanders. They got him in the 5th round. Give him credit for that. But with everything we heard coming out about Shedeur Sanders, like it just feels like adding him to an already like gigantic question mark of a quarterback room is just going to cause more drama than necessary. And the Browns have just been like mired in drama for so long at this point. Like it to me, the way for them to get out, and this is part of why I was nervous when they hired Kevin Stefanski, because I was like, oh crap, that's a good hire for them, because Kevin Stefanski's kind of a no nonsense type of guy. He comes from that Mike Zimmer school, so. Like I was like, oh well, he's gonna get rid of the drama. He hasn't done that, which has been nice for me. But Shedeur Sanders is just gonna add to the drama. Like, what the hell are you doing? Thomas is pissed. Thomas is fucking pissed. Like I was texting him today, and he's just absolutely like up shit creek. He's so pissed at the Browns right now.
Yeah, well, it's all right.
All right, who's 26?
You're not gonna like this.
I don't think so.
But I think it's the Bengals.
I think 26 is a little low, but yeah, I don't.
My team's dead last. Man, you'll survive.
Well, you go ahead and explain. But since it's the Bengals, I want to talk about it a little bit. So you talk, and then I'll explain my thought process.
My thing is Shamar Stewart was not a first-round pick for me. I had him in the first round because for some reason everybody, was hyping him up. But, you got Dylan Fairchild, which, it was an okay pick. But it's like the Bengals, their biggest need was – what?
I liked Fairchild. That was, I think that might have been my favorite pick of their draft.
I know, but, the Bengals needed defense, and they got linebackers, but it's like – other than Shamar Stewart, who's not that good, to be honest, I feel like the Bengals, y'all forgot the cornerback position entirely.
I know! Sorry, my family's trying to sleep.
It confused me.
Yeah.
And, bro, I'm looking and I'm like, bro, I'm shocked y'all didn't go after Will Johnson or something. Like, dang, like, or Jade Barron in the first round, but like the
All right.
second, but like quarterback or no safety.
All right, listen. Shamar Stewart is a completely uninteresting pass rusher and a dog shit tackler. Like, he motherfucker can't tackle to save his life, at least from what I've seen. And you're going to a team that has a history with this particular coaching staff about of not coaching their guys to tackle very well. Like, are you kidding me? Like, I mean, okay, look, Shamar Stewart's a Bengal now. I'm rooting for the guy. I pray that I hope he's wrong. What they're doing is they're trying to replace Sam Hubbard because he's a good run defender, right? And he can, like him plus Trey Hendrickson. If you can really strike gold there, that can work. But why fucking God, you better be re-signing Trey Hendrickson to a long-term deal if Shamar Stewart is the guy you're drafting. Because, like, Myles Murphy has not proven that he can take over that pass rushing spot yet. Joseph Osai isn't really doing it. Like, I mean, maybe those two on a committee could, like, do a decent job. But if Shamar Stewart is, like, who you're banking on the other side, then, like, you need somebody like Trey Hendrickson to, like, kind of, like, bring that pass rushing oomph. Demetrius Knight, I thought Demetrius Knight was a fine pick. I also thought it was a little bit of a reach. I didn't think you needed to take him at 49, but maybe they didn't feel he was going to be available at 81. I don't know. I get what they're doing, and with all the drama surrounding Jermaine Pratt, I don't hate the Demetrius Knight pick. It's not. I would grade the Bengals at a C, maybe even a C minus, because the Demetrius Knight pick was like okay, but I'm not really inspired by it at all. I like Dylan Fairchild. I thought that was a good pick because, like, I mean, he's known as a really good pass blocker, and that's just what we need. If he can start, then I'm all on board with Dylan Fairchild. I'm happy with that pick. That was a good. That was, in my opinion, the Bengals' best pick of the draft was Dylan Fairchild. But then they got Barrett Carter in the fourth round, like another linebacker. Okay, we lost Akeem Davis-Gaither, and Jermaine Pratt asked for a trade. So I get that they feel they need to address the linebacker position, but like we didn't need to like do it that like hardcore in this draft. We could have waited a little bit to get another linebacker, and then Jalen Rivers, Taj Brooks. I don't really have a whole lot to say about them, but it's not really the point. We have got to fix the secondary. Like, what are we doing? We didn't address it at all in free agency. We didn't address it at all in the draft. We're going into the season, and we're just banking on Cam Taylor-Britt and DJ Turner taking gigantic leaps this year when they haven't done it otherwise. Like people complain about the pass rush on this team, and I get it. The pass rush does need to be better, but the pass rush doesn't really have much of a chance because dudes are getting open within like a second because our guys can't cover. So, like, I don't understand why they're just completely ignoring the secondary. It makes no sense to me.
Because y'all don't feel like addressing it?
I would have put the Bengals a little higher than 26, but not much higher. And again, the main reason is because, like, I thought Demetrius Knight and Dylan Fairchild were decent, okay picks. But, like, the rest of the draft, just like, what the fuck are we doing? Like, what the absolute shit ass are we doing? Honestly. I'm not happy. Not happy.
Same.
So, all right, so it's, I guess it's my turn, right? 25. Oh boy. Who do I want to put at 25?
My team's already off the board. You cannot hurt me.
Yeah, I think you already hurt yourself. You're the one who argued to have him at 32.
Yeah, I'm a process.
Okay. God, who had a really? We're past the point where they're really really awful drafts. I don't think anybody really had an awful draft. I think the Saints and the 49ers had the biggest question marks. And the Cowboys had one really big question mark in the first round, which is why I put them as low as I did. But I don't know. I'll defer to you on this one. I can't. My brain's kind of eating itself right now.
All right, I was thinking the Rams.
Okay, why?
Cause like, all right, so one, you traded out the first round, and I understand you got a first round pick, but like James Pierce is right there. James Pierce, in my opinion, is a generational talent that you don't pass up under no circumstance. Like you would have to get a bunch. I understand you got a first round pick next year. That's cool and all.
All right.
But it's like you had a chance to put James Pierce on the same defensive line as Jared Verse. That would have been nasty. Do you know how much sacks that would combine for? At least 25. Like, and also, you drafted Terrence Ferguson. There's better tight ends out there. Like, there's better tight ends out there. I can't think about like Harold Fannin. I'm pretty sure he was out there. He's better. The Mason Taylor. You could have had Mason Taylor. He was out there. I think Mason Taylor's like one of the best tight ends in the draft. I don't know if he got picked by the time the Rams were on the board, but still, like you could have got Mason Taylor. Like Terrence Ferguson, I don't view highly. And then also like Jarquez Hunter, like that was an alright pick, but like Josiah Stewart, he's a good player, but it's like he's no James Pierce. And you drafted Chris Paul Jr. Chris Paul sucks because of his name. And then
okay.
What?
I'd say that was funny.
Yeah. If you know, you know.
Right.
But yeah, Ty Hamilton. It's like I like Ty Hamilton, but I thought you could have got him and like named like you're with your other fifth round pick because like you could have addressed like you could have gotten like another quarterback to like because Matthew Stafford's probably going to retire at the end of the year almost. Like I just didn't understand the direction the Rams were going in this draft.
Yeah. That's fair. I'm gonna put the Packers at 24.
All right.
I'm not a big fan of their draft. I know you are. You were big on Matthew Golden, right?
Yeah.
I thought they reached for Matthew Golden, and I don't know. To me, maybe I'm traumatized. Okay, so I'll put that out there first. But when I look at Matthew Golden, I think John Ross, and John Ross was a disaster for us. Now we got him much higher than 23. Like we got him at like number 9 or 10 or 11 or whatever. I think it was 9. But yeah, I don't know. Like Matthew Golden, he could be really good, but I have concerns about him, particularly with Jordan Love, who we're still. I don't think we're entirely sure if Jordan Love being like great is for real.
Yeah.
One more great season from Jordan Love, sure. But, last year it's like, well, was last year the real deal or was the rest of his career the real deal?
Yeah, I feel that.
And then the other wide receiver they got is basically just like the reincarnation of Marquez Valdez-Scantling, who was like known in. Well, yeah, but I mean, don't forget he spent like his formative years in the NFL with the Packers, and he was known when he was with the Packers for being and having absolute freaking stone hands, like couldn't catch a damn thing. And
that was back then.
That's kind of my perspective on Savion Williams. Like he's like pretty bad at dropping catches. I mean, and he also oddly good at making contested catches, but he also has a tendency to drop a lot of balls too. So, I just and then the rest of their draft was like fine, but I just didn't really see anything that really stood out to me. But I have concerns about both of the wide receivers they drafted, and they really seem to put an emphasis on wide receiver.
Yeah.
All right, 23. Who's 23?
I wanted to put the Seahawks with Jalen Milroe, but then they had a better draft other than him. That was my only that's the only mistake. I'm telling you, Jalen Milroe was a mistake.
Okay.
But anyways, I don't know. Like, a lot of teams had pretty solid drafts. However, I'm a. I'm thinking I'm thinking the Lions, kinda. Yeah.
I agree. That was actually going to be who I was going to say next.
Yeah,
So,
because like
yeah.
the Lions, like I like the Isaac Tesla pick. I like it, but I mean, I just don't think there's enough here. Like you drafted like mostly defense.
Mm.
Well, you drafted like overall, but it's like I feel like you could have had another corner because like DJ Reed does not really move the needle. So just like I was saying about the Bengals, you need a corner. Like I'm sorry, like half the teams in the league missed out on like
I didn't
Will
want
Johnson. I feel like you could have got Will Johnson in the first round, but you chose Tyreek Williams, who I didn't even have going in the first round. Like,
Right.
uh, the
King Bozo, you keep bringing up Jack Sawyer. A lot of Bengals fans are upset about not getting Jack Sawyer. I didn't really like Jack Sawyer. I'm like, if y'all like that's cool that y'all got Jack Sawyer, and I thought the Steelers had a good draft, to be fair. But I'm not super high on Jack Sawyer.
He did that one play that everybody remembered him from.
Yeah, he had that's kind of his claim to fame, and outside of that, I think he's average. Honestly.
Yeah, if he didn't do that, if he didn't score that touchdown against Texas, nobody probably would have thought of him as like a top 4 round.
I'm probably putting the Steelers ahead of 16 King Bozo, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah, the Lions. Just real quick, and then I'll tell you who I'm putting at 22. But like, don't ever in your life take a defensive tackle from Ohio State in the first round. Just don't do it. It's bad. It's bad juju. It doesn't work out. You will regret it. Okay. All right. Moving on. Let's see. Who am I gonna put? You know what? We were talking about the Texans earlier. Let's put the Texans here. Put the Texans here. I don't love their draft. I thought but I like it better than you. But I don't really love their draft because I mean like I agree. They had a lot of opportunities with guys who were on the board. And they really kind of they seemed like they put an emphasis really big on wide receiver and well, I'm kind of going against my own advice here. But this is why I'm putting them at 22 and not like 31 like you wanted to put them. But they definitely don't have a need for wide receiver right now. But to be fair, they might here in a few years when Tank Dell isn't around anymore, and with him coming off a major injury, I guess it's possible that he might not be around for very long. But yeah, I don't know. I don't love them doubling down as much as they did on wide receiver, especially when they didn't have a first round pick because they tried it down, but still.
Yeah, I feel that.
And then the quarterback that they took, I did like Luke Lachey, the tight end they took in the 7th round. I felt like he probably should have gone much higher. So that was a nice little pick, but it's a 7th round pick. Who the fuck cares? But like Graham Mertz, I mean, they're not drafting him to start over C.J. Stroud, so it's a backup. So I guess who really cares? But like, I have concerns about Graham Mertz just like working out at all in the NFL.
Yeah,
he was bad in college. I'm honestly not entirely sure how he made it to the NFL. Like he flamed out pretty badly.
You're right.
Yeah. King Bozo said we should put the Jets next, but it's your pick. So what do you think?
No, not even close, buddy.
All right.
I think the Jets maybe had like a top 15 draft, to be honest. But
all right.
Denver was gonna be my choice. Like, I love their first round pick, but that's about it.
Yeah. I like Barron. But y'all know how I felt about Barron. I wanted the Bengals to take Barron in the first round. Didn't happen, but
yeah. Yeah, look, I love the first round pick, and I actually do like Pat Bryant. But like, and also RJ Harvey, but like, when it got later, it's like you drafted two edge rushers, which is cool and all that. I like Savion Jones is a solid player, come from an LSU fan, but like, I feel like you could have addressed like the tight end position earlier than what you did. Like, I feel like you could have got a Mason Taylor. That would have, I understand you're trying to Evan Ingram, but does Evan Ingram really scream at you like that? So
I can
that
also
was my
attest that drafting a punter is a bad idea. I used to think it was a great idea, and then the Bengals drafted a punter, and it was a bad idea. So don't do it.
yeah. I know the Saints signed an undrafted punter. So
Well, that's perfectly fine. You got to get a punter at some point, but just don't do it in the draft. It's a terrible idea. It'll come bite you in the ass. But okay,
yeah,
so you got the Broncos at 20. I'm gonna put the Dolphins at number 19.
okay.
Because
I like their draft.
I thought it was fine. We're at number 19 here, so I'm not saying they had a terrible
Yeah.
draft. But I don't know. Like I wasn't really inspired by any pick that they had. Like I mean, Ollie Gordon in the 6th round's okay. Um, Quinn Ewers in the 7th round could be good if it works out, but it also very well could not work out. And it's not like he's ever really going to have a chance to develop with Tua starting. So,
Yeah.
but then again, Tua gets hurt a lot, so maybe I'll eat my words. I don't know. But see, this is why I'm saying like 19, because it's like I don't hate any of their picks. I'm not really inspired by any of their picks. Like Kenneth Grant was good in the 1st round. But then the I forget his name, the tackle from Arizona in the 2nd round. Like they do need tackle. I just don't like the one they got.
Yeah.
Or at least I'm not in love with the one they got. Like he's like a zone blocking guy, and I get that kind of fits with what the Dolphins do, but he's not really that great at it. So
Yeah. Yeah, I feel that.
yeah. All right. So who's number 18?
Raiders.
Raiders.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I disagree with you, but okay. Why?
Well, I like the Genty pick, but it's like, they drafted Jack Beck. It's like, I feel like they could have got him later in the draft. Darren Porter was okay value, but it's like Charles Grant, I'm not a fan of.
Okay.
Caleb Rogers, I'm also not really a fan of. The guy from South Carolina, the defensive tackle, I looked at his tape and he's not that good of a tackler. Like I just didn't really feel inspired by their draft either. Like I think it was okay because of the Genty pick, but like even somewhat the Beck pick, but I just didn't really feel inspired by the Raiders.
I really liked the Raiders draft personally, but it's your call. So I guess 18 is fine. Number 17, I'm gonna put the Buccaneers.
Bucks.
Yeah. I did like the Benjamin Morrison pick. In the 2nd round, that one was good. But I'm not really sold on Igbuka. Yeah, I didn't think they needed him either. Like in the 1st round. Like, I mean, I get Chris Godwin's coming off an injury. I get Matt Evans getting a little older. But those are still two really good players. We don't need to be taking a wide receiver in the 1st round. And I'm not a huge fan of the guy that they did get. Like he's a good separator, but he's not like he's not like a guy who's gonna like overturn things, which is really what you want to target if you're taking wide receiver that high.
Yeah, I feel that.
Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of the Bucks draft. As you said, they did better than the Saints, but
well, why did you have to say that? We could have just left that out the water.
You're the one who brought it up in the first place.
I said that when we're talking about my team. We're not talking about my team. So why bring that up?
Because we're talking about your rival team.
Okay. They're not even our rival teams. Those rivals compete against each other. We don't compete against them.
Okay.
We used
That's
to.
depressing.
I mean, it's still sad.
That's depressing. All right, who's number
Yeah.
16?
Chiefs.
Chiefs. Really? I thought they had a good draft.
I did too. That's
A
why I have
solid,
them
like a
in
really
the
solid
top-
draft.
That's why I'm putting them at 16.
Okay, all right. I guess I can understand that logic as much as anything else. But I don't know. I would have put them in the top 10. I thought they had a pretty damn good draft.
Yeah, I like their draft, and I feel like they hit a lot of stuff. Like, I love the Royals pick, but it's like, same time, you got Josh Simmons, which I also like. I just feel like, compared to like everybody else, I feel like the Chiefs, they didn't underwhelm, but I feel like they could have maybe like drafted like another corner to pair with Trent McDuffie. And I know they got Williams in the third round, but it's like I would have once again, like half the other teams, I would have targeted Will Johnson like the first or second round. But I understand, Josh Simmons. But yeah, I think the Chiefs had a good draft. That's why I'm putting them in the top of the league. If I didn't think they had a good draft, I'd put them in like 22 or something like that. So.
All right. I'm gonna put the Jets at number 15.
Yeah, okay.
I
love their draft.
I didn't love their draft. I thought it was obviously I thought it was slightly above average. Membu was a solid pick at 7. I don't see Membu as like Penny Sewell, so it just seems a little high to be taking a lineman, if they're not like a great lineman, and he's good, really solid. My probably was the best one in the class. I just don't think it was a very solid. It wasn't a great year for tackles, honestly.
Yeah.
But then again, you're also drafting within the draft that you have, so maybe I don't know. But at that point, it feels like you're really targeting, like position need, and I've already expressed my feelings about doing that.
Yeah.
So, go ahead and tell us who's number 14.
The Seahawks.
I was wondering when you were going to get to them.
Because they committed the worst crime you can ever commit.
But they got him in the 3rd round. That's a good value.
That is 4 rounds high.
We're talking about Jalen Milroe, by the way, so we don't confuse people.
Like, bro, he's not good. I'm surprised he got drafted at all. Like, if I was GM, I would have stayed away from Milroe the whole draft. I don't care. Like, I would have gave him Quinn Ewers treatment.
Quinn Ewers got drafted too.
I don't know. That's what I was saying. Maybe 7th round. But like, if DJ didn't get drafted, I don't know why he did.
Well, I think everybody. I don't think anybody expected DJ Uiagalelei to get drafted. Like 0 people expected that. Nobody was talking about
the
him.
same thing should have happened to Milroe.
I mean, but he's got traits though.
Yeah, traits as in run the ball again.
And that works. In the modern NFL, that works.
Yeah, it works whenever you play against those shoes. Sorry, defense.
You just sound salty.
I do. But no, it has nothing to do with that. I promise you. But yeah. But like the only reason I even have them this high is because of the Gray Zabel and the Nick Montewarry pick, and also the Elijah Arrow pick. If it wasn't for that, bro, they would have been dumpster fire, like booty.
All right.
Anyways,
number 13, I'm going to put the Ravens.
the Ravens, man, they had a pretty good draft too.
I thought they started out pretty good. Like Malachi Starks was, I want to say, might even be a home run of a 27th.
They got Mike Green in the 2nd round.
Yeah, but I'm still not really sure how I feel about Mike Green because like he's really talented. Don't get me wrong. Like if he works out, that's a massive steal. I just wonder if he's even going to if he's going to fizzle out or not, regardless of what his abilities on the field are. And then outside of that, it's not just that though. Like the Ravens just had a ass ton of picks, and I know most of them were in the 6th round, but still, like they had an ass ton of picks this year. So like, I should be looking through the Ravens draft and thinking like, wow, all right, you got him at that point. That's wow, okay. Like, but no, every single person other than Malachi Starks and Mike Green, is just like, I don't fucking care. I don't fucking care. I don't fucking care. Like, I think it's funny that they drafted a kicker, because of the whole Justin Tucker situation.
Yeah. You don't
Um,
draft a kicker unless you expect them to play.
right, exactly. So I just
Yeah.
I find the Ravens draft to be obviously fine. I'm putting them at 13. I'm not saying they're bad. But I just I feel like they could have done a lot more with what they had.
Yeah.
I mean, even using some of those 6th round picks to like trade up and get like a 3rd or a 4th round pick out of that, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But then again, what they did in the 3rd or 4th round doesn't exactly inspire me. What do you think about Emory Jones as a person who watched LSU?
He was all right. So Emory Jones, my biggest issue with him is that he was inconsistent. Like it was like Emory Jones, like he'll be good one day. Like I remember against USC in the opening game, he was dominant. But then against South Carolina, he couldn't block a soul. So like it was really no in between with that guy.
Yeah, well, that's what you said about the other guy, right?
Well, I think Will Campbell has more upside than Emory Jones.
Yeah, fair enough. All right, who's the number 12 then?
ATLANTA.
I'll be honest with you. I was kind of the way you were talking about them before. I was kind of expecting you to put them higher than that.
No, like I would have, but they traded away their first round pick next year. They don't get no brownie points for that.
I mean, yeah, but what did they get out of it though? Like that's the question.
Look, they had a great draft, but the inner Saints fan in me is not gonna let me put them top 10 in anything. I'm sorry, bro.
I also really like, like Jalen Walker and James Pierce. Like that's a powerful combination.
It is.
And then Xavier Watts in like at 96, like I don't know, man. Like they only had 5 picks, but like they were thrifty with those 5 picks.
Yeah, they had a great draft.
Yeah, so
but I just feel like compared to like everybody else, like
okay. So Mikey's biased.
Yeah, I am. I'm incredibly biased.
All right. Well, so I would put the Falcons more like here personally, but you're allowed.
It's weird. I'm biased against the division rivals, but I'm not really biased against my team unless I just feel like to be biased.
You mean biased for them?
Yes.
That's fair enough. Okay, so number 11. Who's number 11?
I don't know. It's your decision.
I'm just thinking out loud.
Okay.
See, I would have put like the Chiefs somewhere around here. Like I thought they had a better draft than you've been saying. Oh shit. You know what? We should have put them lower. But I mean, since we're here at this point, like the Giants, they should be lower for taking Jackson Dart.
I like the Giants draft. I just don't understand Jackson Dart one.
Yeah, I guess that's fair. The Giants had a solid draft outside of Jackson Dart. I feel like I want to knock them more for taking Jackson Dart, but maybe we'll just say they don't get to be in the top 10 because of Jackson Dart. Like, look, I'm not saying like a lot of people seem to be really high on Jackson Dart after the draft, but my question is, where the hell was that before the draft?
Bro, even before the draft, you had people saying the Saints should take him at 9, and I looked at you like you had 17 heads.
Yeah, I don't get the massive hype around Jackson Dart. Like, I mean, like, yeah, I think he could be interesting, but like, I get like Kirk Cousins vibes from him, to be honest.
It's like, because I was thinking about it, and I was like, do I want to put the Giants here? But then I'm like, okay, I mean, other than Dart, they got Carter.
The Abdul Carter saves them for sure.
Yeah, they got Cam Scatterbo, who I really loved. They got Darius Alexander, who I also liked. They got Marcus Bimbo, who I also liked. They got Thomas Villanone, that I also liked. The only problem I had with the Giants draft was Jackson Dart. So I feel like they had a great draft. Just him. You could have had Shador. You could have had whatever.
Although with Shador, it's going in the 5th round. Maybe taking Shador where they took Jackson Dart wouldn't have been a good idea either.
He would have been better than Jackson Dart.
Well, it depends, but I definitely don't like taking Jackson Dart as high as they did. That's
You
for sure.
remember when they drafted him, bro? We just all started busting out laughing.
Yeah, I know that was funny, but part of it was because I said as a joke right before they announced that it was Jackson Dart, like, what if it's Jackson Dart? And you were like, it's not gonna be Jackson Dart, and then it was Jackson Dart, and we just started. Oh, you fucking kidding me? Okay, so who's number 10 then?
Number 10. Number 10. Probably Arizona.
Okay.
Look, I think they had a great draft. You know, drafting Will Johnson in the 2nd round, that's great value. Drafting Walter Nolan in the 1st round, that's good. You know, they got Denzel Burke, but that's like the only thing. I think Will Johnson really saves them here. Like Jordan Birch, I think a solid pass rusher. I thought they were gonna address the receiver position, but they didn't do that one bit.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's my only knock on Arizona. But yeah, you know, I think they had a good draft, top 10 worthy.
Okay.
Mostly because of Will Johnson.
All right. I'm gonna put the Patriots in number 9 here.
Oh, I thought they had the best draft out of them all.
I don't. I mean, I thought it was pretty solid, but like, I personally think Travion Henderson is a bit overrated. You know, we'll see, but I'm not super inspired by that pick like a lot of people seemingly are.
Kyle is biased, everybody. Kyle is biased.
I'm just not usually a big fan of Ohio State running backs in general, but I've seen Travion Henderson. Like, he's got really good upside, I'm not going to lie. But I think Mike Vrabel might have influenced that pick a little bit because he's such a big Ohio State guy.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, this is another one where it's just like they had a lot of picks, and I don't really feel like they utilized them as well as they could have. Now this is one of those situations where I like the fact that they took a kicker. It's good for them. I don't dislike the fact that the Ravens took a kicker specifically. I guess it depends on how serious they feel that Justin Tucker situation is. But like the idea of drafting a kicker when you have Justin Tucker on your fucking team is mind-boggling to me. And then there was like taking Will Campbell, number 4 overall. I mean, I like more Will Campbell. I think he's a really good player. I don't think he was. We were talking earlier about saying, you know, Membu. I thought Membu was the best tackle in the draft. But I don't think either of them should have gone in the top 10, to be honest with you. But the rest of their draft, yeah.
Yeah, they had a good draft. I think I was a little bit too harsh on Will Campbell coming into the draft. Now that I think about it, I think Will Campbell, after seeing his interview after getting drafted, I think he can fire somebody up. So I think he's fired. He fired me back up. So.
Well, that's the thing. I think he's a good addition for the Patriots. I have some reservations about making him the number 4 overall pick. You know. But it's your turn. Who's number 8?
Jacksonville.
Ooh, I mean, this might be a hot take. I think the Jaguars had the best draft. Like, I would have put them at number 1.
Yeah, well, they had a great draft, mostly because of Travis Hunt.
Yeah. But I mean, Jack Kaiser, I really like Jack Kaiser in the 4th round. That's a great. That's like he could be like their next I forget the guy's name, but they had like this linebacker who was like the heart and soul of their team forever. And like Jack Kaiser could be another guy like that. I was really hoping the Bengals would pick up Jack Kaiser, to be honest.
Well, you know what? Actually, no. I changed my mind. Actually, no. Pittsburgh. Actually, I was
Okay.
slipping through that. Actually, no. Pittsburgh.
Yeah,
I don't know why I forgot about Pittsburgh.
I agree with Pittsburgh here. I definitely think they had a top 10 draft. Not the greatest of all time. I think people are kind of overrating the Jack Sawyer pick. But I do think Jack Sawyer's a good player though. I just people are acting like that was a fucking home run pick, and I don't. But I really do like Derek Harmon though, at 21.
Yeah. Yeah, obviously, it's unfortunate to hear about his mom, but yeah, I think that's just going to fuel him up even more. So
yeah, it's also unfortunate that he has to play for the Steelers, which makes me hate him now. But no disrespect to his mom by any means, but disrespect to his team colors for sure.
But yeah,
I love that they took Will Howard. You know why? Because that guy plays for Ohio State, and fuck both of those teams. Works out great for me.
I mean, look, I hate Ohio State too, so I can testify on that.
There you go. All right, so number 7. I'm going to say the Washington Commanders.
Okay.
I honestly this is another team that I was thinking about putting lower, and I think I just kind of forgot because I am not really inspired by anybody that they drafted. I mean, we've already locked these guys in, so I'm not going to go back and change things. But Connerly, I like Connerly. Okay, right, in the first round, that was a good pick. But I never really liked Trey Amos that much. And trust me, I watched a lot of tape on cornerbacks. All right, and Trey Amos just never really stood out to me at all.
I wanted the Saints to take Trey Amos.
Well, that's good for you.
No, it's not because we didn't take him.
Well, I think that's good for you because I don't think he's any good.
I don't know.
All right. Who's number 6?
Number 6. So we got the Bills, Colts, Titans, Eagles, Panthers, and Jaguars left.
Mm-hmm.
I think the Colts.
Colts. All right.
Yeah. I think they had a good. I think they had a great draft. Clearly, they're almost in the top 5. I love the Tyler Warren pick. I love the JT Tuimoloau pick. I feel like they could have maybe addressed. Let me pull them up real quick. I feel like they could have addressed some other things, I feel like they could have addressed offensive line, more. I feel like they could have addressed that more.
Mm-hmm.
No, but they got Jalen Travis, which it was all right. But yeah, overall, I think the Colts had a phenomenal draft.
Okay. I'm gonna put the Titans at number 5.
Okay.
I really, 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 really fuck with Cam Ward. I think Cam Ward's gonna be great. And I mean, honestly, the whole draft, you could just see it in the way that their draft kind of took shape. Their draft was about putting guys around Cam Ward, and I think they did a good job of that. Like Gunnar Helm in the 4th round, good pick. That was a really good pick. Jackson Slater is going to be, I think I think he could start for the Titans at guard. I like that wide receiver that they got in the 4th round. I really like the way that I like his fit in Tennessee. Let's just put it that way. So I think they set up Cam Ward very well here, and I'm kind of rooting for him because my boy Brian Callahan is their head coach, and I really like Cam Ward too. So outside of any competition with the Bengals. But I like the Titans. And it's unfortunate because I was rooting for Mayonnaise Man there because he's my Kentucky guy. But I also never really believed in Will Levis at the NFL level to begin with.
I mean,
so.
hey, you can root for mayonnaise guy whenever you can root for mayonnaise guy in the preseason. Got that.
Yay. Okay, who's number 4?
Yeah. Number 4. Hold on. That's between two teams for me. Number foe for foe. Where are they at? Hold on. I got some pulled up real quick. All right, where you at?
Okay, I know
All
who
right,
I have
number
at number 4.
What?
I know who I have at number 4.
Well, good for you. Number 4, I have Philadelphia.
Wrong, but okay. Tell me why.
Look, I love the Jahad Campbell pick, but like
that is an incredible pick. Like, that was a steal of steals.
But Kyle McCord just does not excite me as a backup QB option.
They got Kyle McCord in the 6th round.
Good for them. That's Miles Hinton. Like, I don't really like Miles Hinton that much. I feel like they had a great draft.
They got Andrew McCaba at 64. Like, come on.
Yeah. I think,
they did the Eagles thing the whole fucking draft. They're one of those teams that had a lot of draft picks, and I felt like they used them all well, personally.
Well, good for them. And yeah, that's why they're in the top 5.
Well, yeah, I would have put them at 2, to be honest with you.
Good for you.
So number 3 is the Carolina Panthers, who I would have put at number 4.
Good for you.
But obviously, I think we both agree that Panthers had a really great draft. I mean,
we don't have to agree.
But no, I think we do agree, though.
But I don't want to.
Tet McMillan is going to, like, if Bryce Young turns it around, Tet McMillan is going to be the reason why. Like, let's just be honest with you.
Tet McMillan is going to be the reason why I jump off a cliff.
And then, I feel like Trevor Etienne really should have gone way higher.
Yeah, I wanted the Saints to draft him in the 2nd round.
And the guy they got in the receiver they got in the 6th round, is that J.C. Horn's brother?
No.
It's not? Okay. I thought I heard that they were related, but maybe that was just bullshit. I don't know.
Well, because hold on, let me pull it up real quick. Because Jimmy Horn, I don't think is related, but because I know J.C. Horn's the son of Joe Horn.
Yeah.
Let me see. I could be wrong.
Right.
Really.
But while you're looking it up, Tet McMillan, Nick Skirton, Princely, I'm not going to even try to pronounce his last name, Trevor Etienne. That was their first 4 picks. The Panthers crushed it, dude. I would even be willing to hear an argument that they're the number 1 team in this draft, but I have obviously 2 teams that I thought did a better job.
Yeah. It says here that he's not related. Like I said, J.C. Horn's the son of Joe Horn, and but Jimmy Horn is not related to J.C. Horn in any way.
Okay, so who's number 2?
Number 2, either the Bills or Jacksonville. I know you're saying that Jacksonville's number 1. If we compare,
I can agree. I can be okay with them at number 2 though.
Well, hold on. If we pull up the drafts, I don't think the Bills really made a wrong pick, to be honest with you. Like, I feel like every single pick the Bills made, I understood why, and I didn't even think 2 questions. Like, you drafted Maxwell Harrison in the 1st round, awesome. TJ Sanders in the 2nd round, awesome. Landon Jackson in the 3rd round, awesome. you got Deion Walker in the 4th round, dude. Like,
okay.
Jordan Hancock in the 5th round. Come on, man. I think the Bills are number 1. So
okay,
Jacksonville.
Well,
they're number 2.
I mean, here's my argument about Jacksonville. They took a massive swing to go get Travis Hunter, and not only do I respect that, but they still managed to have some really good picks the rest of the draft. And also have a decent amount of picks the rest of the draft, despite taking that gigantic swing on Travis Hunter. Now they're front loading us. I mean, if Travis Hunter sucks, then this is going to be an all-time terrible decision. But I don't think Travis Hunter's going to suck. I think he's a good fit in Jacksonville. And like I said, Jack Kaiser in the 4th round, I love. Jalen McLeod is another, that linebacker tandem could be really good. I don't know if Jalen McLeod's going to start, but he could, and you're getting him in the 6th round. So he reminded me of the Akeem Davis Gaither pick for the Bengals a few years ago.
I understand, but it's like, look, and I love the Jaguars draft too, and I feel like going into the draft, Travis Hunter's best fit was Jacksonville.
Yeah.
So they traded up, got him. You give up, a future first-round pick, but like I said during draft night, if you're a good team, that first-round pick ain't going to really matter. Like, for example, when the Texans gave away that first-round pick a couple years ago so they could go up and get Will Anderson, the year after that, they didn't give a flying duck's crap about that first-round pick. They just got Will Anderson, and they were in the playoffs. So, like, that's where I go with trading first-round picks. Atlanta, it was kind of confusing when they traded away first-round picks. Atlanta's going to suck again next year. They're going to suck for eternity. So why are you doing that? You need all the first-round picks you can get at that point.
All right, so then that means the Buffalo Bills are going to be number 1, because I don't have a choice. Now to be clear, I really like the Bills draft. I told you why I thought the Jaguars had the best draft, and with the Bills, my biggest concern is that, like, Maxwell Harrison, who I really, 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 really wanted the Bengals to get, but not in the first round. Like, I think they reached for Harrison. That's my only problem with their draft. Other than that, dude, T.J. Sanders, Landon Jackson, Deion Walker, I promise you, is going to be great. Jordan Hancock, they did a great job in this draft. I'm just like, Maxwell Harrison probably didn't need to be taken at 30 overall. That's my biggest issue with them.
I liked Maxwell Harrison. I didn't have him in the first round either, but if he works out, it's gonna be a great, because the Bills, I think Patrick Mahomes is why they had the draft that they had.
Whoa, that was weird. Look at the screen.
What the what?
Right? Yeah, I put the OBS on the thing, so it was just like going. It's got this infinite screen over there. So if any of y'all want to know how I stream these, do these streams, it's through this program. But yeah, okay. So this is our final rankings. Let's go ahead and save it, and we can revisit it later and laugh at ourselves about how bad they were, because I'm sure we will. I'm sure something like Travis Hunter is gonna end up flaming out, and we're gonna come back and look at this and be like, "Wow, the Jaguars actually had a horrendous draft." Ha 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 ha. But for right now,
where it's like, Will Campbell's the best offensive tackle in NFL history or something like that.
Yeah, or turns out the Saints were actually geniuses. Yeah, who would have known? Turns out
Shamar Stewart has the most sacks by a rookie.
Yeah, he's actually the next Trey Hendrickson. Like, who would have fucking done? Just that just randomly happened. Or Shamar Stewart turns out to be not Shamar Stewart. I just fucking said Shadur Sanders. Turns out Shadur Sanders, who my dad is actually, and I'm actually like in the 5th round. That's not bad, because like now Shadur Sanders is pissed off. That's the thing. Now he's pissed off, and if he channels that right, which he could, because he's Deion Sanders' son, and I feel like that's exactly what Deion Sanders did, is he channeled being pissed off really well. That could work out really well in his favor, being in Cleveland, because now he's pissed off, and that could focus him. But it could also unfocus him, which like it did to Johnny Manziel. So we'll see. But I mean, like, Shadur Sanders could end up being like, like he could live up to all of the hype and not have any of the downsides that people were worried about with him. Lots of things could change, which is why I wanted to save it and keep it around for the future. But obviously, we're not going to really know about these grades for 3 or 4 years, 3 years at least. I think you at least need to get 3 years in the future to really see how a draft class is, because like at that point you don't know for sure. But you all
Yeah.
you do know at that point, like in general, how the class is mostly going. Every once in a while, somebody like Jordan Love will randomly turn it around. Um, but for the most part, by year three, you kind of have a pretty good idea of how the draft class kind of shook out.
Yeah. Yeah, I understand. Like for example, man, like this. I don't know if you remember, but when the Saints in 2018 drafted Marcus Davenport, there's this he sucked, right? Then he had this one season where he had 9 sacks, and I'm like, shoot, Marcus Davenport might be the thing. And then he sucked, bro. I was right, wrong, then right. Because I did not think Davenport was. Well, I thought he could be good, but I didn't think he had the tools really. But he had like 9 sacks one year. He just sucked. Just continued to. Fun fact: the last play he ever had as a Saint, he got ejected in. So
That's fun.
yeah.
But anyway, that's it for tonight. We've been going for like an hour and a half, and that's whenever we do these power rankings. That's about how long it's going to take. So hope y'all enjoyed. You got anything else you want to say, Mikey, about the Saints draft?
Man, Tyler Shucks, you better not shuck at football.
Okay. Shamar Stewart, just please do something. That's I'm so exhausted by the fucking Bengals. Just don't just don't be bad, man. That's all I ask. Just don't be bad. Which, like, from what I've seen from his tackling tape, I'm worried that he's gonna be bad, but maybe he won't be. I don't know. You know, he does seem to be pretty good at stopping the run. Not always great at tackling the run, but good at getting in the way. So
Think so?
yeah, no. Obviously, he's got really good traits. That's why a lot of people thought of him as like a first round prospect. It feels like we're kind of banged. But then again, tackling is teachable. I just don't think the Bengals are the team to teach it.
Yeah.
So I don't know. We'll have to see. But that's pretty much it for us. We'll be back next week, probably Thursday-ish. That's usually when we do these episodes. But my schedule's changing because school's over now, so we'll figure it out. But I'll leave y'all, as always, with a hooray.
Who that?